Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy. I'm trying something I've never tried before and I've wanted to do for a really long time. So I'm using this Liquitex paddle brush, and I first saw Rinse Godana and Erica Hughes do this. I know that there's many other people who have done this. I know Canella has done them. This was my first attempt, and I'm just going to let you know up front, I'm going to overwork the crap out of this. So this is a 10 by 20 not gallery wrap. This is a regular level 1 canvas, and I'm spraying the top so that I have a wet surface. I may have sprayed it a little bit too much. And then I'm going to attempt to vary, I think that is Phthalo Turquoise from Colourarte. So I kind of was going for an ombre background here, just kind of going from dark to light, but then I blended my colors so much that you probably can't even tell that I did the ombre thing. I don't really care about that, but so I'm gonna do kind of the paddle brush leaf thing, but what happens is, and you'll probably be like yelling at me, stop. I totally overwork it. So two things. When I did this first layer, I only had time to do this. I didn't have time to do the other leaf part. So I ombre'd the canvas and I let it dry. So this color that I've just added is fluorescent blue-green from Colourarte Vivid Intense. And I'm using a foam brush for this part because I only have one paddle brush, and I was like, if I don't use similar colors, I'm gonna have a problem. So anyway, long story short, I did the base coat first and then I let it dry. And then, so I tried to brush the leaves on a dry surface for the second phase, which was like the next day. And I think I needed a little bit of moisture on the canvas so the brush would glide and not get stuck. So apparently I didn't know what I was doing from the very beginning, but whatever. It's a learning process, right? So when I've seen people who actually do a good job on this ombre background, they start from dark to light and then they blend the color in the middle, instead of just having a harsh line. So I've done ombre on tumblers and stuff, so I know at least a little bit what to do. So this is Titan Pale Blue, or Light Blue, from Colourarte, and it has a little bit of a purple undertone, but I just did it anyway. And I actually kind of like the interest it added. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to totally overwork this so you can barely see the background in the first place. But I wanted to share it with you guys anyway because this is the part that none of us like about learning new things. Now I'm using titanium white from Colourarte. None of us like to be bad at things when we first start them. We like to come out the gate being amazing, and that's just not how this works. So anyway, you can see I sort of achieved the ombre thing, but I just wanted to explain what's going on. I also had woken up from a nap this day and thought to myself that fresh ginger from Colourarte would look really cool with Rouge Violet, and it would. But with this background and the colors I decided to use, this may not have been the best time to have such a daring attempt. So I share the chaos with you. But I did really enjoy getting to practice with it, and I will do it again. But that's also why I'm using a level 1 canvas and not a gallery wrapped canvas. So now that I've explained to you, I'm going to use Rouge Violet from Colourarte Vivid Intense. I am going to use Fresh Ginger from Colourarte Vivid Intense, which turns out to be beautiful color, but a bad choice in this case. I'm using Egyptian Blue, I think it's called, which is a prism pour color. And I end up coming in with some more of the titanium white. I did start off with some like kind of a pearl color called Mother of Pearl from Colourarte. It's a prism pour color because I was wanting to kind of give it a soft background. Sorry, my dog's dreaming. Anyway, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit now. You can see that I'm trying to use the mother of pearl first, but I didn't shake it up very well, so the mica didn't move around, so it ends up just kind of being very translucent. But I was kind of too chicken, and I kind of wanted to get the feel for the brush, so I figured if I would start off with something like that, it would give me a feel for how the brush would move, etc. So I'm not even going to list the color in the description box because I obviously, you can't really see what I was doing. But it was a good way for me to get a feel for the brush. So yeah, you can see that it wasn't moving because the surface was dry. And I don't know if it's supposed to be dry or supposed to be wet. I can't remember. And everybody who does these videos for the most part hyperlapses them. So except for Canella, she did a nice long one. But I think at this point I realized I need this canvas to be wet. So I don't know what color I just showed you. Oh, the Egyptian blue. So I spritzed the canvas again with a little bit of water, just like you would if you were going to first start out. And then the brush moved a lot better after that. But my paint also bled. So I think ideally you're supposed to put the base coat on in the same session. So you can see where some of my paint is bleeding because I just literally just sprayed the water and didn't really even like fan it out or anything. But you can see this starts off kind of cool, and I was like, oh, okay. But then and I've sped this up quite a bit, but then I started to get a little overconfident and I moved my brush a little bit too quickly, but I should have kept it very minimal and it would have been really pretty. I was kind of going for like tall, almost like sea plants or something underwater. So now we're going to use the Rouge Violet, and my original plan was to use like 2 of those colors and then use Rouge Violet, or use a little bit of white for some pop. But then when I had that weird thought about using the fresh ginger with a violet, I thought, wow, that would be cool if you tried to incorporate interference violet into fresh ginger, because ginger is kind of a yellow, and yellow and purple are complementary colors. But then I was like, well, what about Rouge Violet? So I've totally messed up right here. But, and so I think, well, maybe I can fix that, But you can see I just start to not have good control of my brush. I start to not make great use of my negative space in the middle. But that's, it's a learning curve, right? So that's why you practice this stuff, because it's easy once you mess up to look back and be like, why did you do that? When you're doing it, you're like, well, maybe I need to, I've been going this way. Maybe I need to go this way. And then you're like, maybe I need to slow myself the heck down when I'm moving the brush. But, most things that you do scared when you do things in art don't work out too well. So then I think you'll see that I'm probably about to incorporate a little bit more of is it the blue? I think it's the blue. Anyway, I did enjoy it. It was very therapeutic. So that was bad. Like, whoa, just kind of like smear to the side. But, the brush doesn't always do what I want it to do. And at this point, I don't have a smaller paddle brush to do like some details where I don't want to do the full thing. So I'm kind of at the mercy of what the brush does, because I don't yet fully know how to control it. And you can see I was having some trouble. But then recently I went ahead and bought a 2-inch one and a 1-inch one with things like this in mind. So, stay with me. I'm about to really get crazy and put that fresh ginger on there and then realize I just kind of made mud. And it's not really mud, it just, there was too much color already on the surface. I kind of thought, well, let's have a pop of color, but it's obviously going to be overpowered by the darker colors. And it would have been better to do had I already applied some white or something. So then I was like, well, what do I do now? And I just kept working it to death. So, but I learned a lot. So I did let it live. I haven't varnished it. You'll see that I continue to work it. Obviously, I've killed my negative space, so you'll see in a little while I grab a paintbrush and I try to use a paintbrush to incorporate some white. So I'll let you kind of see that layer. I show you a close-up of kind of where I land before I think maybe I should try to see if I can rescue it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It can be more crazy. So just hang with me. I'm going to speed it up quite a bit from this point on. I just wanted to kind of explain to you what the heck happened and what I've learned. So I think at this point I'm saying that I'm going to add some white and see if I can't add some contrast where we have too much. So I'm going to speed it up now so you don't get too bored. Okay, so first of all, that was a terrible brush stroke, right? That one wasn't too bad. But I was just having some trouble kind of getting a feel for how to move that. That was also a terrible brush stroke. How to move that brush the right way. I also picked a super like narrow canvas, which may not have been like the greatest. Like you kind of need the freedom to go wide and whatever. So I just grabbed one and I just am continuing to make a colossal mess. And so I just remember thinking this started off so well and it is going so bad. And I just want to share with you guys that I am pretty committed to sharing fails because I just think that's so much more realistic, right? So if we as artists only show you guys every time the painting goes well, then like what does a beginner think? You know, like this is what fluid art is. You just grab a canvas and you never have a bad day. This this gets more disastrous as we go for a little while, you know? And so I just think it's important that you know, like all of us as we're learning have days where we're like, what the heck, you know? So I don't like being bad at things. I don't know if that's any of you guys. Here I try to take the white on the corner of the canvas and see if I can get better control. And I thought I was going to like this video more when I was doing the voiceover. But quite honestly, as I share this with you, I'm even more like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But so now I'm adding some more Rouge Violet. I kind of gave up whatever I was doing with the white there, but the white's going to come back. So on the bright side, if I ever try this again, which I will, because these brushes are expensive, so I'm not going to have them and just have them sit there. But yeah, it's just crazy, guys. So anyway, I've never claimed to be a good brush painter. So, I mean, I don't even think I can draw stick people. So, but this just gets crazier and crazier. So here's the first layer as a close-up, just to give you an idea. It's a little wild. It's kind of pretty. My husband thought it was blue flames at first. So let me show you now where I thought, can I save this? So I grabbed a slanted paintbrush and I took some white, and I need to speed this up. And I basically went through my titanium white and began to do, or attempting to do, somewhat controlled brush strokes to separate some of the just color upon color upon color. And I think it helped a little bit. There were some places where I didn't do a great job. But again, like we all have to be patient with ourselves as we're practicing.
I am definitely not patient with practicing and learning. So that's just a little bit of a character flaw, I suppose. I like to be good at things immediately. But you can see I'm kind of trying to outline in a weird way with the white and try to pare down some of the busyness and add some place for your eye to land. And then I totally overdo the white, which, you know, that was the theme for the day. So then I go back in with some of the Egyptian blue, and then I try to kind of mute some of the places where I added too much white. So you'll see, I do think this does make it look better. There's one place where where the white line is like unusually narrow in the middle that bugs me, but I think it's probably just me. So here's my question for you guys as I share this crazy mess with you. Do you think it would help this painting if we came in and added some like some gilding adhesive and added some very minimal lines of gold leaf? Or do you think like it's already so busy, just please varnish it and move on with your life and don't make it any busier? You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to know your thoughts on that. It's okay if you think it's too busy as it is, because I do too. But I was trying to find a way to like give it some redemptive qualities. If not, I'm just going to cut my losses, varnish it, and say this was my first try. You know, whatever. I still oddly, I like it. It's weird, but I do like it. It's a strange painting. And I think it was unwise for me to start off with a 10 by 20 because there's not a lot of real estate. Like there's not a lot of place to really maximize your negative space. That was probably, I just grabbed something that without really, you know, I didn't want it to be a huge project. I wanted to do something simple. And you know, hindsight's 2020. If I was going to do this, I should have done like one plant or whatever. I don't really know what to call it, but not two. I should have started in the center and just done one, and that might have been cool. So I might try that again. But anyway, I'm just curious if you think the gold leaf would add any value at all. If not, I'm just going to varnish it, leave it alone. I don't even have sheets of gold leaf, so I would have to buy gilding adhesive and gold leaf sheets before I did that. So I will not be offended if it's not worthwhile, because it will just take it even longer to get finished. And, you know, even if you agree that it might be fun, it doesn't mean I'm actually going to get it done. So it was just a thought I had, and I was curious what you thought. But anyway, I am not a brush painter, so this was way outside my wheelhouse, even though they're just lines. You might be able to see where I just messed up the white line that bugs me. It's kind of in the left toward the bottom, so it's probably not worth getting the paint out again. But anyway, but this was fun. I will try this again. I deliberately bought some smaller paddle brushes for some details, so I would be forced to not just be like, well, I didn't do good the first time, and just leave it alone. So anyway, more to come. But thank you for joining on this journey with me and letting me show you my first attempt. I definitely learned a lot. And, you know, it's always good to try new things and to challenge ourselves. I'm interested in a lot of different kinds of art, so this is just one new thing. So this is a close-up of the craziness. I do still like it, though, in a weird way. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Bye.